Hello and welcome to Frank's School. See if I can work my way through this. I have committed a violent act. Here was the weapon. Here was the weapon. Here the evidence. I attacked the very heart of the global economy, I think. A violent act as Frank, whom I have realized is an iconoclast. I guess I can't deny that. This was the act of an iconoclast. QV, look it up. I looked it up. I remembered the word, and I remembered that in the Protestant Reformation, I'd run into it. That there was a period of time where right through Europe, iconoclasts went through smashing artwork, knocking noses off statues, knocking them down, breaking windows, because they so firmly believed that the use of religious, especially religious imagery, was an evil thing. I suppose you could say that some of the extreme Muslims are the same way in the way they've destroyed the stuff of the past. Well, I'm not there, but I am an iconoclast. I do not like, well, I don't wear signs. What happened was this is a sweater vest, and it's a different color, and it was, when I went to church, I decided, well, I'll wear this because it doesn't have as much cat hair on it or whatever. But then I realized I would be wearing a sign. I'm purposely turning it backwards. I sort of wish that I'd cut it out nice and square. But I'd said earlier, and I'd put it on, I'd forget it, I'd put it on, I'd look down, I'd say, I'm wearing a sign. I don't even know who or what that is, but I don't want to wear a sign. And I had said to my wife, is there any way you can take that off? And she looked into it, but it's embroidered so, industrially, that she said there was no way. She couldn't. She tried. I figured, well, I can take it off. And so I took it off. It occurred to me it has occurred to me that, I could put a piece of duct tape on there, and then I'd kind of be wearing the red badge of courage, like the Scarlet Letter. In literature, she had to wear a big red A to advertise to the world that she was an adulteress. So, and the red badge of courage, well, I had the courage to attack the global economy, but I don't like that too much either. I thought, well, maybe I could have the brown badge of courage. I don't know. I've got nothing against artwork. I mean, I'm not like those Protestant reformers. I think artwork's fine. Matter of fact, what a great opportunity to make a beautiful piece of artwork here, but not an advertisement. I'm going to start to erase things because I want to make sure that I deal with this stuff. I don't wear signs. And as I said, the Scarlet Letter, the Red Badge of Courage, I mentioned them. Now, the Protestant Reformation, I don't like, in general, I don't like flags. I don't like signs. Billboards, if you want, but I don't like signs. I guess ones that show you directions aren't that bad, but if you could ask directions, it would be better. I don't like flags. I don't like signs. I don't like logos. And I don't really like symbols. And so the idea of wearing something like that, I could have got let me step off camera a minute and get a hat here. This won't work. This won't work because this hat, it doesn't have a sign on it. How did I come up with that? But what I've done in the past with a hat, a ball cap, has a sign on it. Well, I've worn it inside out. And that way, I'm not going around as a walking advertisement. But I don't need to here because I got one that's, why? This outfit wasn't going to be paying me anything to go around and advertise their wares. It was like graffiti. It's like graffiti on my clothes. Or, I wrote pigeon shit. I really think I would have rather it was pigeon shit because I could, clean it off or something. I got not that much against it. But anyway, I don't, you know, I don't like these things in general. But the idea of going around and serving mammon, I mean, a walking advertisement. No, I don't go for that. And I was saying about artwork. Yeah, I love artwork. I mean, I think this would be a great opportunity to make something gorgeous. And embroidery, even silk screening, I guess, would be okay. I remember back in, I don't think it was maybe the 90s, early 90s or something, that students, when I was teaching in public school, students started to come to school wearing signs. And I thought, well, we never did that when I was young. Well, I think there were developments in silk screening and then embroidery as well that made it cheap and easy to do that. I think that's one of the reasons that became a fashion, but it hasn't gone away. Now, I left the book Hidden Persuaders on there. I was thinking about this. Back when I was in, I bet it was around 1960, maybe 1962, when I was in high school. For credit, I think it was part of the course. I don't think I bought the book. I mean, I was 16 maybe. We studied a book called The Hidden Persuaders, which was trying to reveal the extent to which advertising was steadily and subtly convincing people of things. I found myself thinking of that. And I thought it was interesting that even back then in public school, there would be the foresight from the higher ups to let people be aware that this was happening. The hidden persuaders, and now, you know, it hasn't gone away. It's just become even stronger. It is so effective. TV commercials, you see so many of them. You see signs everywhere. Oh, and back on the signs and symbols, I remember when I was teaching symbolism in public school, trying to explain about kids how you can have symbolism in literature, and we discussed symbols, and I said, well, we could put some in your notes. You know, the swastika, the hammer and sickle, the Christian cross, the Star of David. These are very, very powerful symbols. And for some of the kids, and I understand, I said, you don't have to put a swastika in your notes if you don't want to. But if you do, maybe put a Christian cross right beside it or something to try to show you what I'm talking about, because that is such a powerful symbol. Well, anyway, they're everywhere. And with the TV commercials, when I find watching television, a commercial comes on, there's all these actors that are smiling, all the time smiling. And the response to a smile, when someone smiles at you, you sort of automatically want to smile back. It just kind of happens. And I find myself, I don't. Does that make me a real grouch? I mean, I realize that that's an actor or an actress that's being paid good money to smile at me and to get me to smile back. Well, I've got nothing against smiling, but not as a knee-jerk response. And together, I think, in a sense, they are stealing the real world away from us. Well, all right, decentralism in me runs deep. That's very clear. It runs very deep. Now, I had not exactly made the connection between decentralism and iconoclast, the belief of an iconoclast, but it runs deep. I attacked brand names almost 40 years ago in a poem, which you can see in my school 6-year 9th day first video. It's called the Riddle of the Craftsman and the Extra Line. The extra line was a series of brand names, which actually was so offensive, such a downer, that extra line in a way ruins the poem. But then see, that was the point. You can also see it in a playlist that I have, Decentralist Action and Inaction. One of the first things I say is, if you want to act as a decentralist and you can't go to some farm and try to grow your own food or whatever you might think a decentralist would do, you can immediately take all the advertising that comes into your house in newspapers or magazines and throw it out. Don't even look at it. Throw it out. And mute the television as soon as the commercial. I'm pretty impassioned in this. Of course, when you mute the television, you still see all those smiles and you still see all those symbols. But anyway, it runs very deep in me, and you're hearing more of it now. I kept it at bay for the first 2 years of Frank's school, but eventually I decided I'd better show my politics. But it isn't actually politics that I'm trying to do. I would like to change the culture, if I could, to get the real world back. You know, I would viciously attack Trump in just about every way I could in this recent election here. But in a way, Clinton and Trump, they're the same. Culturally, you know, Trump's richer morally, and in terms of decency, there's a world of difference. But and politically, they're different. But the culture is really the same, and that's a much, I don't know if it's harder, but that's a very different attempt to try to change the culture. Mammon is like rules. But so a lot of the stuff that I do with goats or with windmills driving, trying to set up a sawmill driven by a windmill and stuff, I'm not trying to be cute or charming or funny or even necessarily interesting. I'm trying to be moral. And you know, I go on lots about that, kilocalories as currency, etc. But anyway, when it comes to Trump, maybe you can imagine the offensiveness that a man of Trump to an iconoclast like me. He once has tried so hard to make his name a brand name. And he's a billionaire, and I hold that against him. I hold that against him. That's not a good thing. Shame on you that you're a billionaire. You know, so to me, there is that real difference. I mean, to him, if you need a person that's a stand-in for Mammon himself, Mammon is, for those that haven't bothered to go look it up, Mammon is like the god of greed and power. Anyway, so offensive to me. And with his idea of America first, well, in the news currently, recently, we find out that there's about 20 million Africans that are facing starvation, and you know, oh well, you know, that's their problem. That's half of the total deaths caused by World War II. And why is that coming? Why? Well, you know, birth control, of course. I lived in Africa for a summer, and I decided to not go back as a Peace Corps volunteer because you could see it looming. The thing that needed to be worked on there was birth control. Medicine was only making it worse. But anyway, I just want to finally mention that there's such an irony I see when you see these images of these desperately poor people, refugees maybe, poor children, poor people, Africans, and the clothes that they're wearing have been shipped to them from the Western world, you know, as an act of kindness or mercy. And here they're wearing these logos. They're wearing the very symbols that have made this global economy consuming way more than is needed and wasting so much. They're wearing the symbols of what has destroyed or is destroying and essentially has destroyed the plant, you know, the planet, the ecosystem. So what an irony. Well, in any case, you might regard this as a rant, but it has been an act of violence. And now we've got a blank blackboard. Here's chalk. You know, and I thought, what should I write something on there? How about fire, water, earth? How about fire, water, earth, air? Fire, water, earth, air. How about love? Pretty important words that aren't really symbols at all. But that's our talk, right, incidentally. But in any case, yeah, I was going to say, one of my characters I've created so important to me is a character named Marion, who not only doesn't, you wouldn't call him an iconoclast, he doesn't use words at all. Even words to him become symbols. So I think maybe that's better. Here we've got